All right, ladies and gentlemen, dear creatives, here we are again with another episode of Great Talk, the business of creativity. And today we have someone who I hold dear, and oh shit, I don't even know how to he's up there for me. And I'll say this, I'm not even trying to toot his own and stuff. Based on his own personal achievements and the work that he has done in the industry, there's also how his doings and his thought process and the way he thinks has impacted, me and my processes as an individual, as someone who works in the creative sector. Right. So people know him as the consultant, and I would like to find out why. And they also, some people call him Black. Most people don't even know his name. They call him Black. So yeah. Today, guys, let me present to you my guest for the day, Mr. Lanre Lawal, aka the consultant, aka Black.
Thank you, Baba, brother.
You so much.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I'm glad. Thank you for bringing me on. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
I should be saying it's an honor because I know that you always find outlets to impact people, but I also know that you prefer the medium that is not public, like clouds.
Yeah.
The camera on you and all
Yeah.
that. I know. And honestly, you're not here because of cloud or anything. Yes, there's camera on you, but
Of course, I understand. It's you now, so
Yeah.
no wahala.
I have nobody. I'm just a regular.
It's you, so hey.
So yeah, the consultant. I'm going to use that word, and I know why I'm using that. Can you tell us? Just talk about your journey. From wherever is comfortable for you to this point. Like, what's your background like? What informed? How did you dabble into this space?
Okay.
How did you dabble into this space? What has informed a lot of decisions you've done? Who are the people you work with? That people can actually just listen to and know who you are.
Okay. Where do I begin? It started as a passion. I have always been a lover of music. I love music, and I definitely, I cannot sing to save my life.
Yeah.
Obviously, I cannot even write music to save my life, but I just love music. I listen to music a lot. So there was a time in my life where I worked as a cyber cafe attendant. Yeah, that was in early 2000s. So I did a lot of research. I did a lot of reading, about music industry generally, the industry. Then I loved to be, of course, I like the background. Definitely I can't sing and all of that. I just like the idea of, okay, so there's the managers behind these people that we see. I just sort of love the idea of being able to create an idea and then work with the idea, and then the general public is seeing the idea, even though they don't know me.
Yeah.
And I can see that, maybe I'm sitting on the TV and I'm looking, and people are loving what we've created, what we've worked on. I love the idea.
Yeah.
So one of those days, one of my customers at the cafe, Auntie Esther, I call her Auntie Esther.
Yeah.
I want to see Auntie Esther again. So she comes around and she liked me a lot. So one of those days she was just talking to me like, you're smart. This thing, what do you want to do? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah.
You can't be here forever. And I told her, I'm trying to get admission. I'm trying to do this. But then I love music. I love to be manager, manage musicians and stuff. Now at that time, while I was speaking about it, I didn't think it was a profession.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I saw it like, it's an hobby, something you love, but I'm going to have a proper job.
Yeah, but
I'll do that on the side. So she was like, okay, you see that music thing when you talk, there's this classmate of mine, back then when we were in Unilag. He too, he said, no, they let us rest. That even back in school, he had a team, they released an album, he did all this, he said a lot of things.
Yeah.
But okay, introduce me now. So he introduced me to Ife Omorogbe.
Ah.
Yeah, so he gave me his number, she gave me his number, I called him. I went to see him. I went to see him at Kwame's house.
Okay.
You know Kwame. So at the time it was Global Sounds they produced. So Global Sound became Nigezie today.
Okay. History.
Yes. So, so I went to see him and then we spoke. He was like, okay, well, I mean, this is what we do. So you can come around, you know, you can talk. We share ideas and all of that. So the first thing he did for me was he taught me how to write. Yeah, he would give me notes, you know, like you give me notes basically, then ask me to develop it. Then I'll go write it, bring it back, and be like, nah, this is not good.
Write music or
No, entertainment news.
Okay.
Entertainment news at the time for Global Sounds. They had news section.
Yeah.
So I would try, I would write, come back, it won't go well. You'll be like, nah, go back, you know. So I kept doing that. But while we were in the midst, while we were still going through that, of course, he was associate producer at Global Sounds at the time. I still had my job at the cafe. I would go maybe sometimes in the evening, just go hang out with them. I would listen, you know. Then there were a lot of people coming around. Everybody was still struggling, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so we would sit down, I would listen to them, then would nine, all of them would, you know, come together and just talk about the industry.
Wow.
It was, you know, interesting for me. Now, while I was seeing Ife, there were other people too. I did a lot of research, you know. I met a few people who were in the industry. I went to see Nomolos, God rest his soul. There was this man, Sweet Batowe. Man, there are people.
A lot of people are lost.
Oh no, sorry. As in, so I would go out, Sulazo, Suliolans, all these people. So I spent more time with Ife, then Plantation Boys broke up, and then Two Face needed a manager. Ife became Two Face's manager, and then there was so much work to do. So at that same time, so at that time also, I had quit my job at the cafe. You know, I was going to school, NIJ, Institute of Journalism. So of course I had so much time. I had no job, nothing. So one of those days, if he just offered me to come work with him, you know, so I was like a road runner. I mean, he was busy, so I was like a road runner. Okay, go and
call road manager today.
No, road runner, like go and print CD. You know, then it was CD. So every promo you had to print promo CD, take it to radio stations and all of that. So we need to print CD. We need to print DV tapes. You know, it was VHS at the time. Yeah, VHS. You know, so I did all of that. Okay, we want to go to this radio station, talk to this person, pick up this newspaper, all those things. Then from roadrunner, let's just say I rose from being a roadrunner to the head of artist management department at Now Music. So, and you know.
So while if it was associate director or something at Global Sound?
No, he had Now Music, yes. But at the time, Now Music was management company. Okay. In fact, before then, if he had done a lot of things, you know, he had released albums with. There was this project he did. I read about. I mean, I hadn't met him at the time. You called him Mega Mob Unleashed. It was a hip hop, you know, project. So yeah, he brought people together. They created this project. You know, it was dope. You know, it was impressive. I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be able to do things like that. You know, he did a project for. Was it Sir Victor Wifo?
Okay.
At the time also, trying to recall the name. He did so if he had done so much, you know, it was, maybe we could call it underground, but it was a lot for the industry at the time. So he had Now Music going on then. He was working with, he was co-founder, I guess, at the time. So anyway, I rose from being a roadrunner at Now Music to becoming head of management, because the company had different departments. There was marketing and distribution, there was PR, you know, there was record label service, but the management, and at the time we had so many artists, as in all the
10, 20.
All the important artists, every artist is important, but all the big names at the time, there was Two Face Idibia, of course. Two-Face was big, so everybody wanted to
Associated
with yeah. So there was Two-Face, there was even when we stopped managing Two-Face at that time, there was Ruggedman, there was Nigaro. I don't know if you know Nigaro. There was there was Nigaro. There was Idris Abdul Karim, Mumaji. You know, we just had so many artists, you know, on our roster, and I was in charge of everybody. I mean, we had staff, but I was in charge. So so I was in charge. So that gave me the head start that I needed, you know. So I learned firsthand how to work with artists from zero, up to getting them up there, you know. So I mean, if it was very good to me, it was very instrumental to my growth in the sense that it was open. He allowed me to experiment. He allowed me to do my job. So I'll come and be like, oh, I have this idea, da 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 da. He'll be like, okay, yeah, go ahead and do it, you know. And whatever you need, just let me know, you know, and we'll do it. And when they work out, they work out. When they don't, you take responsibility. Wow. Yeah. So if he's very instrumental, please, you should. If he has so much to tell you, you should. We'll talk. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I got into the job, and that's when I realized, okay, this is a job. You understand? This is a job. This is not something you do out of This is a job. In fact, it took over my entire life.
I can imagine.
Because okay, so I'll give you an example. Nigaro, for instance, or now is now Mr. Raw. Okay. Mr. Raw, one name. When Nigaro came to Lagos, you know, signed to, of course, our management company, started building the brand and all of that. Then Nigaro blew up, right? I'm talking 2005-ish, yeah. And every weekend we were traveling. Trust me, every weekend I was on the road. I was traveling. So no time. You know what I mean? Like, we were on the road every weekend. We are in Enugu, we are in Uli, we are in Calabar, we are in Abuja, you know. So I realized that, okay, this is a job, this is what you do. You get what I mean? So yeah. So basically that's how it started. Then I left Now Music 2007-ish. Yeah. 2007, 2008. Started Black Brother Entertainment. So that's where Black came from. Black Brother Entertainment.
Wait,
actually,
yeah. Why did you name it Black? Is it your complexion?
So there was a time. So it was a nickname given to me by someone who was helpful to me. Okay. So there was a time I was trying to get admission into OAU Ife. Okay. So of course I went to the school to see what I could do, but I had no place to stay. You get. So I met these two ladies at the time, and they this guy looks like my boyfriend. One of them said, why you resemble my boyfriend like this? And that her boyfriend's nickname was Black. So they started calling me Black. So I just adopted the name. I only just tweaked the spelling. Yeah. But yeah, that's how I got the name Black. So yeah, I started Black Brother Entertainment. I managed a group at the time who was fairly successful before they broke up. The group was called Plus One. Okay. Yeah, we had a few. It was fairly successful. In fact, the group.
Do we know some of the people?
Well, they stopped making music. Okay. In fact, two of them live abroad now. One is still making music, actually. His stage name now is. God, this is wrong.
I know.
Oh my God. Musician. Like musician.
I see.
No, sorry. Record. R-E, then K-O-R-D. Record. Okay. Yeah, that's his stage name, and he makes great music to date. My good friend Bobo. So yeah, you know, I managed the group then. They were fairly successful, and of course, while I was managing the group, so that's where the consulting thing came. So I worked part-time with other people as well. You know, so a lot of people like Jabless at the time. GT the Guitar Man, Goldie, God rest her soul. So, you know, all of these people, I still do things for them on this. Even where them see back then, you know. So I managed this group. They were fairly successful. In fact, my first trip abroad was through the group. Yeah, we went on tour of Europe. We went to like 5 cities in Europe at the time.
That's huge, Joe, at that time.
2009, yeah.
That's
huge. 2009.
Because people have this notion that, Afrobeats, overseas, like a recent.
Nah, it's been there. In fact, the tour I'm talking to you about was sponsored by Western Union in 2009. Yeah.
Talking about doing
now, and I didn't even like they reached out to me on Facebook. Do you understand what I mean? Like it was Facebook. Oh, we see what you guys are doing. Are you?
So there was value.
Yes.
You guys had value for them to reach out.
To reach out.
It wasn't that you guys were lobbying.
Nah, it was they did everything, paid us, and then we went. We did 5 city tours in. We did Sweden. We did Copenhagen. We did 5 cities basically. But at the time, of course, if I knew then what I know now, we probably would have done more. Book more shows. Yeah. But I mean, we just went, did our thing, came back, and of course, in our community at the time, a lot of people also, reached out. So that's how it started. Then Banky W came back to Nigeria, needed, someone to work with. Late Tosin Bokno recommended one of my big brother, Bayo Mishori. Now, Bayo was working with Sound City.
I spoke with Mr. Bayo 2 days ago. He called me.
Oh, okay.
So he was asking me about the particular artist. So he belongs to a community.
Okay. So, Bayo was working. So, Sound City was starting a magazine at the time called Sound City Blast.
Yeah.
So, Bayo was the chief editor. Nice. So, no time. Nice. So, Bayo brought me in. So, I was more or less the guy that handled Banky W's project, from promoting Ebute Meta, promoting Ebute Meta up to the release of the album, the entire work basically at the time. So while I do that, I work with almost everybody that really.
How come maybe these things you're talking about, are they like public knowledge in a way?
So I
like slap your name on stuff,
so
honestly, you can easily walk by people who think that you do today.
That's a good thing, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's a good thing, but what that does again is
they disrespect you. They undervalue.
To use the word
they undervalue. Yeah. I mean that's happened a lot. That's happened a lot, but
I remember when I reached out to you. So it was Blasphemy and Culture.
Yeah.
So I was working with the drum tech guys.
Okay.
For Brymo. That Chevy.
Yeah, of course.
So I was working with drum tech, and that was the time we first like. And you were just so regular. You would wear a lot of round necks. You were so regular, and but because I still love Brymo's work. I'm like, if this guy can be
doing this,
things, he's actually, So that was the first time we met, and then I saw you in my estate. I thought we lived in the same estate.
Yeah.
And then it was when you were moving out to the other side.
Oh, yeah.
And then I reached out to you. I took your number. I reached out to you if I could come around, and you were just so for so long. I wondered why you were so receptive.
Okay.
And even right there, I was trying to talk to you about certain projects, and you were like, let's do this, let's do that. I remember sometimes you want to go out, maybe your car is not available.
Yeah. We'll go. Yeah.
Now I see that. Yes, you are a person, and you have your own conviction, and you have your own personality. But I think that the way Efe took you in, is somewhere you probably
learned to. I believe so.
And the error here is when people don't get to know who you are. Because I wrote something down here, mentorship.
Okay.
Right. People don't know this.
Yeah.
Is it on them to find out, or you don't have enough information out there about you? So I'm hoping that this is one of the things that the podcast can do, because I have a silent beef for the industry.
Okay.
And the silent
beef
the silent beef is simple. Is that now, and it's good. It's a two-edged sword. Now we have a lot of people working as execs in the industry.
Yeah.
Which is good. it's, for the longest of time, structure has been the issue. Nobody to manage you. One manager is overwhelmed because he's the only one getting the job done and stuff. At the same time, we are churning out a lot of mediocres. And I carefully say that because money is a good motivation to do stuff. Right? It's a good motivation. I won't stay here and say money is but then if money is the only motivation why you are in an industry, I think there's a problem. Right? So we are also pulling out a lot of people who do not know and don't get to know what they are doing. Okay. So one way that I think that can be fixed is to work directly with people like yourself. Okay. Who was taught and mentored by greats and have done stuff like you've actually seen. I would say that when Afrobeat started to become Afrobeat, you were there as a student till the point where it is right because you still manage.
Well, I want to go back to management now.
You want to go back to management?
We'll talk about that.
Okay, good. So till this point, like people like you should have people that they mentor directly or indirectly. In a sense. Do you have any?
I have a few people I have mentored.
Okay.
And
did they reach out to you?
They reached out. So I mean, I can't go out there and just say, let's mentor you. You have to want it.
Of course.
You understand what I mean? Like, I am mentored by Ife Omorobe. I was mentored. I mean, it's still like I still run to Ife when I hit, brick walls, when I need help, when I need advice. I still go to him, And that happened because I reached out. That happened because, someone told me about him. I reached out to him, and he saw that this person is, I mean, before me, there were people that were around him that he didn't give the job he gave me. I don't know if you got what I'm saying. There are people I met with him that they wrote together. In fact, they were part of Now Music at the time, but he did not give them. He didn't give them the job he gave me. Exactly. At the same time, he had, of course, I was busy, like I said, I was doing all sorts at Now Music. Some people today would complain that they are stressing me for how much. Do you get?
Let's not name them.
So at the time, I hardly get enough sleep. The job wasn't easy. It's not like today now. Today you can just send email and get things done, right? Back then, it was legwork. I had to be everywhere. Get to the office, pick up CDs and go to Cool FM. From Cool FM, go to Rhythm. From Rhythm, Repower. And these places are not closed.
Yeah.
Do you get? So you do all of this waka. Do you get? But how much was my salary at the time? You get? My salary was 6K at the time, right? My salary was 6K. Sometimes the salary will delay.
Right. And I understand it because the creative industry is so much in a way that you can hardly do like a proper financial projection or financial model.
Thank you. You get
profitability. You just have to start.
Exactly.
You just have to start. And when money comes. When it doesn't come,
you keep working. I mean, you can't say because there's no money, you sit down. So we keep working. If he would spend personal money, his wife would, Tibuki, thank you, Tibuki. You understand? Yeah. So you have to want it. Mentorship is not something.
Doesn't follow your life.
It doesn't. You have to want it. You have to be interested. And like you mentioned earlier, money shouldn't be money is good. Yes,
but
it shouldn't be the main motivation.
Yeah.
So today we find people who want to come into the business because they hear that there's money in it. So they are, 1-2 days with you, you already know that I can't work with this person.
Because when the going goes stuff,
they are, you know that I can't work with this person. Yeah. And then I've mentored people, not even in this, just the business of music. People in other creative spaces, they come around and, like you mentioned, my home is open. People, come in. I don't know how to do. I just open up to you. Let you see how I work.
Yeah.
And then pick what you want to learn from it. That's it.
That's good. So, what are you presently So a lot of people would know you as a talent manager,
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and you consult and so. But today, who would you say you are? What would you say? Like, I am this. If you have to describe your vocation,
I'll say I'm the consultant.
this
I'll say I'm the consultant, but basically, my first love is still management. I love ideating and executing ideas in talents. Now, as you know, I don't want to say niche, but there are kind of artists that I enjoy working with. Yeah, there's a class or there's a kind of artist that I enjoy working with. I mean, I love music. I'm open to. I mean, I consult for everybody. But when it comes to management, there's a category, there's a class of artists that I love working with because I love live music a lot. I love live music, so it means that I want to work. Yeah, I want to work with an artist that I can go on tour with. Basically, I'd rather work with a touring artist. So I still love management. I took a break. I needed to. How will I put it? I needed to learn. Yeah, I did a lot based on passion. Yeah, I did a lot of work based on passion, and even the money I made, I still put it back based on I just want this thing to grow.
Taking me somewhere.
The little that I made, I still put it back in investing on the talent I was working with. Just let's see, this thing. I know where we're going. I know what. So I did not really do business. Yeah, I did not really do business. So I needed to just step back and do only consulting. And consulting has actually taught me business, how to do business. Of course, not just consulting. I had to get education. I had to go back to school, take a few courses here and there, and then be intentional about building a business. So I'll still introduce myself as an artist manager, a talent manager, and a music business consultant or executive. Yeah.
If you would permit,
go ahead.
I would like to go back a little bit. So, for someone with your years of knowledge, years of experience, and all that, you still brought up the idea of I made mistakes.
Yeah.
In the sense that I did not take care of business, and you have to go back to learn.
Yes.
Right. And it's okay if you we're not the kind of set up a podcast that tries to get clickbait and all that stuff. So leave all that. So if you want to name drop, it's fine. If you don't want to, it's okay, right? But can you walk us through? I know you mentioned like the little money you made, stuff.
Yeah.
Now, so you've given us an idea of how you did not take care of
business. Yes.
Now, what are the steps? Or what did you learn? What are you doing now? What will you do differently in terms of taking care of business now when you start to manage an artist? And what do you think the relationship between an artist manager and an artist should be like professionally?
Okay, professionally. First thing is, what will I do differently is not be too emotional. So not being too emotional means that I applied emotion where I was supposed to be a strict businessman, a strict businessman, just do business. There were times when things came up that was supposed to be taken care of by my clients. It has to do with finance or money, and I'll be like, okay, no need, I'll just pay it up. Now, there's nothing wrong in doing that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, how much is it? So amount. Okay, pay it up, but put it on record. Let the artist know that, we are spending this money on this. You are supposed to do this. I hear you didn't do it, but I didn't want, them to start. Yeah, so I paid the money. So when money comes, I'll take. So I just do that and just move on. You get, and we should not forget as managers that creatives are who they are. They're just creatives. And because they are talented, they are creative, they assume that any and every success they attain is because of their talent. You get.
You need to write that, frame it.
I'll get. You get. So they assume that all of their success, everything that comes, every opportunity is because of their talent. They forget that there are times that you don't sleep at night. You know, you get. There are times you are taking meetings in the middle of the night. Messages, they don't even know about exactly. There are times you are making calls to people and be like, okay, how do we, they don't even know.
At times, they even shield them from disappointment.
Thank you. Pursuing, you get. I was just telling. I was just telling Ajoke earlier that there are so many things you go through. You don't even share with them because the moment you share it, they think, okay, by next week this thing should put through, and then they're asking, so how far that thing? But you are already projecting 4 years. The conversation is supposed to,
grow, it's gradual.
But they don't know. They just so you don't share a lot of things. They don't even know what your plans are, right? What you're working on. So they assume that every success they record is a sort of is their talent, is based on their talent. So that way, that is something we are supposed to ensure, like cover yourself. First of all, you need to, as a manager, before you even go into whatever, make sure your contract is tight. Make sure everything is, discussed, and your contract is tight. And then don't be emotional when business conversation comes up. Yeah, don't be emotional. Just do business. So I believe even these talents we're talking about, they're humans. So they will come to understand. Yeah, they will come to understand this. But we don't. We just love the music so much. Yeah, you're just too passionate about the music so much. You're just too passionate about the future. The things, the picture you're seeing. You know that we should be. This is where we're going. So you're just thinking about that, and then
you're letting a lot of things slide. A lot of things go.
Of which those things would come back to bite you, as they say. So yeah, that's some of the lessons that I've learned. Just take care of business. So then I realized that I needed to understand. So not just creative business now. I understand the business. I know how to break an artist. I know how to promote artists. I know how to push music. But how do you do business? So I had to go back and study. Read books, go to school, and then do all of these things.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said something about breaking an artist.
Yeah.
Can you give us tips on how to break an artist? Don't worry. I know that some of these tips you'd have to fine tune.
Yeah. So you have to
particular talents. But what are the generic standard things that
So in today's market, of course, you need to first thing, and one very important thing, is to identify the market you're trying to break into. The audience, the music, the sound.
Okay. So you put out the sound.
Not necessarily. First of all, you need, before you even manage an artist, you have a conversation. So what are your dreams? What do you aspire to achieve? What's your journey like? Yeah. Then you can fine tune that together. You can be okay, well, from this sound I'm hearing, I feel like we can go this way, we can go this way, and all of that. So when you have that, do you understand? So when we have that understanding, then we can work towards it. So again, it depends on the direction you want to go. Yeah. Some artists are simply just performing artists. So that strictly we have to gig. We have to just do gigs and all of that. Yeah. There are some that that okay, this is a digital artist, so that you need money to push into the digital marketing. Yeah. And a gigging artist, that you need money to just do gigs, shows, showcase, what the artist is about. So there's no one generic way, so to speak, to getting it done. It depends on the sound. Yeah.
So, but what are the kind of housekeeping that a manager should do? When you're working with an artist, in terms of housekeeping. So you've mentioned one thing, which is identifying the sound, fine-tuning the audience. So this is the sound. Who are we trying to sound?
That's one.
So what other things? And I'm asking in relation to image and the artist image. like their online persona, putting it into this context. Yeah, those things.
Yeah, those also still depend on the on the email, on the brand that you're trying to build. The image or the persona, the even what they wear up to that level. How how you promote their music. The languages you use in communicating their brand. All of that depends on the brand that you're trying to sell. So it is very important for a manager to know, to be aware, to understand, to understand the brand they're selling. You don't necessarily have to even have the answer. You can work with a brand development person. You can work with a PR team. So you guys just sit down and fine tune it.
Even test the market.
You get that's how see how people respond. So it's again, you don't have to do it all as a as a manager, as an artist manager. You just need to, first of all, and most importantly, know where you're going. Like, I mean, you and your client, you and your artist, okay, what's the big picture? Where are we going to? So that will determine your journey. That will determine even the people you employ, you put, you bring in on your team. So that's
have you, so from what I've gathered from things you said, you seem to be more on the indie side of things, like independent, like artists that are not like signed to labels. Have you worked with artists to the point that you get them signed to labels, or you are about, let's just build leverage, if label come, take it, if it doesn't, let's just continue to build? What's your philosophy?
Yes, I am open to building leverage, and then if label comes, we sign. I mean, majority of the people I've worked with, it's been that way. But people I have consulted for, I've consulted for people signed to some of the major labels that we know in the last 2-3 years. I mean, I enjoy it. A lot of times, it just they just kind of drag things more than necessary. They drag things more than necessary. Sometimes you're waiting 2 days before something gets signed.
Even album dropping.
And you cannot. There's nothing you can do. So I mean,
you like to.
So as much as I love to work with. With label, the resources are available.
Yes.
You don't have to bother about resources. At the same time, a lot of time it's just
because they have a lot of people on their
roster. So you have to do it. I'll give there's a project we worked on, right? Okay, no full disclosure. There's a project we worked on, and there was need to release a song, and we needed the label to give us a release, to sign a release. We've been pursuing this since November. So today we still don't have the release. You understand what I mean?
That just slows you down. Sometimes
you
go out of the zen self and you're like,
you understand. So
sometimes the market will have
moved past that, exactly. So it's so I'd rather just work with a serious minded artist, who also is hungry, and
so you don't mind building from the ground?
I don't mind at all.
Before we go, there's a project you're working on currently. We were talking about it a little bit off camera. The library.
Oh, okay, the library. Okay.
Yeah, can you tell us about it, briefly?
It's simply renovating libraries across public schools. Yeah, so the idea is to just create an environment, a conducive environment where these children have access to books and knowledge. There are so many schools with libraries, but the libraries are not functioning. So many public schools, they have libraries. Yes, they have a room, a space they call library, but they are not functioning. They don't have books. Some, in fact, I entered one library while we were working on this project. There's a particular library I entered, and the only books they have are dictionaries. Bros, they have up to 100 dictionaries. I'd seen Oxford dictionary. They're just sitting there, and there are no books, no other books. Okay, you understand? So yeah, I realized that there is need, and there are children who cannot afford textbooks. So, let's just let's just stuff up their libraries so that these kids can, even if they can't take it home, they can at least have access to these books, and not just that, even not only their textbooks, that other books we feel would be good for them to read. So we just go in there, look at the library, see what we can do, just put life into the library, painting, fixing things, furnitures and stuff, and then buying books here.
How are you ensuring? So I hear that you do all these things. How are you ensuring that the space and the books are being
used? Yeah. So we had to train some of the teachers and the librarians.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to bring in a friend, fortunately, who also work in academics. She works in academics. She help get people. Of course, it costs money, and like I must mention that this is a personal project. This is personally funded. So it's not like
Lanre. You're trying to raise money? Or you're not?
Yeah.
You're not like actively trying to raise money?
I actually tried. Okay, so I'll tell you. Well, this current project we are working on, I sent out letters to a few friends of mine, and only 2 people responded.
Wow.
Only 2 people. In fact, now these are friends who, when I mentioned the project before, they, okay, when you're ready, I beg. This is beautiful. This is,
that happens a lot.
This is brilliant. This is laudable. Whatever. Okay, I beg, when you're ready, make I know. And then you reach out to them and go, okay, yeah, I got the mail, and nothing. So that's not supposed to slow down what we're doing. So hey, we're doing it. We are building the libraries, we're buying the books, and the kids are happy. So
how many libraries have you recognized?
This year we're working on. Before now we've done 2, which were not recorded. I was just doing it.
So like back end.
Exactly. So a friend just told me, I put this out there. So they created the social media handle, created, in fact, name.
I was shocked when I saw like, no be black, please.
So they created the social media handle, even name. Yeah, we had to go back and forth with names. If you put my name there, but we shall created a name, of course. But it's not an NGO, so I must clarify. It's not like we're running an NGO. It's a personal project. It's just me contributing to the community or to the society. So yeah.
And this year, how many?
Yeah, 2 now. We're working on 2. We're completely done with 1. Okay. Then there's 1 that's still ongoing.
And are you looking to do more?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. It's a continuous project.
Continuous. So it's not like the ones that gets to 10 and not doing it.
It's continuing. So fortunately for us, when this social media thing was created, we've seen people reach out to us. Yeah, from different places.
These people that don't even know you.
No, exactly. So people have reached out, via DM, via whatever. So you get. So we would want to go to those communities. If a good friend of mine, Remy, he's doing things with schools, with secondary schools in Yaba local government, and he's like, guys, you guys come to Yaba. We have schools who also need. I'm like, okay. When we're done here, we should be able to.
That's interesting.
That is if we still gather, because personal money.
Books are not cheap,
bro.
Books are not cheap.
When you're going into this, you have a budget. Okay, I won't spend 3 million.
Budget never works.
I won't spend 3 million.
Almost. Budget never works. Man, there's a lot to unpack, and we can't unpack this in 1 episode.
I agree.
I agree. I hope you'll be open to coming back.
Deji, now you man.
Stop doing these things. You will think I'm not doing
you now. I beg you.
So yeah, and I also can also talk about getting Mr. FM.
Oh yes, please.
Yeah. One last thing before we go. This is the Great Talk podcast, and Great is synonymous to awesome.
Also, yeah.
So we play a game, and the game is.
As in,
it's more like a question. If you were not doing what you're doing today,
okay,
what would you have been doing, or what would you do? What alternative would you have also? And it has to be something outside
what I do.
The industry sector that you're in.
I mean, it's simple. Well, if I wasn't doing this, I would be a teacher.
I'm serious.
Yeah, I just love sharing knowledge. I love sharing, knowledge. If I wasn't doing this, I would find fulfillment in being a teacher or a kind of coach.
Yeah.
I just love, sharing knowledge. Yeah. Impacting knowledge.
That's awesome. Not a lot of people would say this.
I mean,
You're just different. You're just different.
well,
Thank you so much.
Baba,
Thank you so
thank you for having me.
I really appreciate
It's an honor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
All
you
right,
so much.
guys, that's it for this episode. I hope that you were able to grab a couple of things from mentorship to humanitarian, endeavors to taking care of business, and just a couple of things. We hope that this is informative enough and educative. We have more episodes coming. Stay tuned and don't go anywhere. Cheers.